Hi guys.
Hey everyone.
First live. What were we like 20 minutes late?
Yeah.
Finally figured it out.
All right. So we're going to be talking about medications and weight loss, and what are the pros and cons of using a medication for weight loss? Why would you use medications for weight loss? Why not just do it through lifestyle, exercise, nutrition? What are the pros of using meds? What are the cons of using meds? So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And also, how about managing obesity? Is it a one-time thing? Do you treat people and then you're done? Like, how's that work? So we have Dr. Ruziev, of course, Donovan Carper here. So we're going to talk about those things right now. So what are some of the medications that are commonly used for weight loss, generally speaking?
There is actually a lot of medications that are new in the market right now that are very exciting. I think a lot of people know things like Wegovy, Ozempic, Saxenda, and tirzepatide, which is also known as Mounjaro. But we have a lot of oldies but goodies, right? Phentermine is there, which was part of Fen before, Contrave, and naltrexone, and so on. And so also metformin is sometimes used as obesity medication. So there's a lot of medications that actually we use still.
Yeah, and when you mention phentermine as being part of the notorious fen, sometimes people get scared when they hear about phentermine.
Right.
They also phentermine is somewhat known for side effects. At least if you're talking to the general public. What are some of the pros of using phentermine? What are some of the cons of using phentermine?
Phentermine has been around well over 50 years now, you mentioned fen, so. It was one other half of fen. So it is a good, relatively good safety track record, but undoubtedly it belongs to methamphetamine family, and you need to be monitored, especially if you have a high blood pressure and you're prone to any kind of arrhythmias. You should not be on it to begin with. So that's why close monitoring in a low volume clinic is all that makes a difference.
Yeah.
For safety.
I was reading some research on phentermine where there were more than 700 people that were analyzed on phentermine for at least 3-6 months during the study period, and there were no adverse cardiac events, no signs of heart valve damage or anything like that. With the notorious fen, it's believed that the other half, which is now banned, was responsible for the side effects.
And it was causing pulmonary hypertension, which would subsequently cause all kinds of issues.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as you mentioned, phentermine might not be appropriate for somebody that's prone to palpitations or somebody that has very, uncontrolled high blood pressure.
Absolutely.
And prone to anxiety, maybe insomnia, that kind of thing. But a lot of people do tolerate pretty well. We're seeing that,
yes.
Frequently. So not for everybody, but it's one that we use commonly. You mentioned some of the injectables are getting a lot of press lately, hands down. So what are we seeing with injectables in terms of weight loss? What are we seeing in terms of side effects and tolerance, that kind of thing?
Well, injectables, things like Wegovy, Ozempic, a chemical name for that is basically semaglutide, and tirzepatide, and there are some other new ones on the works right now. They're known as incretins. They're natural hormones that our brain, our actually guts secrete when we eat something, and it has multiple effects, such as slowing down your gut, signaling your brain that you just ate and you're full and shouldn't be eating anymore. They are probably the most exciting thing in the obesity world right now, and we've been getting some astonishing results. Even in our clinic, we see sometimes people losing close to bariatric level, weight loss with minimal side effects compared to old medications, brand new, these new generation medications. I think they're game changers.
Yeah, no, I think some things that we see in terms of side effects most commonly, we've treated well over 100 people by this point. And what we're seeing commonly for side effects is, early on some nausea, some blunting of appetite. Some of that's desirable, but especially early on, they might only, feel like eating one meal a day. They might have to be a little bit more mindful about drinking enough fluids. They might actually have to make an effort, to do that in the beginning. We do see sometimes some diarrhea. We do see sometimes some reflux, but none of these side effects have been, for most people, I'd say like 99%, of the people that we treat, most have not been, to the point where they've had to discontinue the medication.
Absolutely.
They kind of, adjusted to it, usually over a period of a week. Sometimes they'll have nausea, that persists a little bit longer than that. Sometimes it will go for, 3-4 weeks, but it's more like a mild, kind of like almost a mild nuisance.
Yep.
They're still able to eat. And a lot of people, surprisingly, don't have hardly any side effects even right out the gate. They're like, hey, what? My cravings are controlled. I don't feel like, grabbing the things I used to grab, for snacks. So my cravings are controlled, but I can eat. I can eat three meals a day, just smaller. I'm eating smaller meals. So overall, I would say it's been very, very well tolerated.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And I think the beauty of GLP-1 agonist and the GIP agonist are you don't have to stop living your life per se. So you're not in a sandbox environment where you're eating only like fat or protein or like it's not that kind of intense cognitive work for you. You eat just appropriate amount. Instead of eating a whole lot, finishing the whole bag, you might actually be able to stop 1/3 of the bag or even less sometimes, which is a beautiful thing because you still can enjoy that little bit of chips that you like. You can still enjoy other things while we're teaching you some appropriate lifestyle habits that will be critical for you to succeed with weight loss and more importantly maintain the weight loss.
Yeah. So as we're using the injectables, what are some of the things that we're seeing in terms of well, first of all, as we're using meds to promote weight loss, what are we seeing in terms of diabetes results? What are we seeing in terms of blood pressure for clients? What are some of the experiences that you had treating people with those conditions when they come to us?
Yeah, I don't say it lightly when I say game changer, life changing medication. It's really, that's what it is. And it's not just to tirzepatide or Ozempic. All class is really, really successful in lowering your hemoglobin A1C, which is a great indicator of your diabetes control, for example. And we have seen people's diabetes to completely normalize. And it's, as an internist, this is like one of the hardest things to do, even on insulin and stuff. And it's people struggle with it, and I think main reason for that is when you give insulin, it actually makes you hungrier and eat more. Versus when we give you GLP-1 agonist, newer medication, it makes you eat normal amount, and it normalizes your blood glucose level. Hence, the effects of medication that we are seeing. It is definitely life-changing medication.
Yeah, we've seen blood pressure come down. So and you mentioned some of the people had to, back off on some of their medications because the blood pressure improved significantly. They had to back off on some of their diabetic medications, again, because their sugars and A1Cs improved so significantly. In terms of weight loss, you mentioned that we're seeing sometimes similar to bariatric surgery, results with people. I know we had a guy in here that, he said the last time he wore his pants that size and his belt, at that loop was in 1978. Another thing that's been really, really cool is that it doesn't seem to matter in terms of age. We have people, in their 60s, 50s, 40s. A lot of people think that, I hit menopause, I can't lose weight anymore. It's all over. I'm stuck. I'm stuck where I'm at. And, we've had people who were in their 50s outdo people in their 40s and 30s in terms of their weight loss. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Seen profound results with that. So, medication, hands down, it's very, very cool. Why is it important for them to get the lifestyle components down? Because it's kind of like, all right, well, why not just use this medication on everybody forever? Why is it important to get the lifestyle components down?
But there are certain things medications, all the medications that are currently available on the market cannot do. For example, when you're on medication, how you feel is different than how you look. For example, if you are, let's say, skinny or normal weight, but still depressed, there are a few things that will fix you with that, like having an appropriate amount of exercise and going outside, having connections. So those are things critical for maintaining the weight loss, because oftentimes we see your body kind of recognize this, that it is a foreign substance to you, and the medications, including phentermine, including GLP-1 agonists, they become less effective. And unless you implement those things in your life, then there's a good chance that you will gain all the weight back. So it is important, you go to a program that emphasizes that, teaches you those things about appropriate nutrition, about what exercise means to your body, or activity for that matter.
Yeah, and what amounts you need. A lot of people don't know how much exercise they need to maintain weight loss. Exercise, I think, in this, we were going to touch on lifestyle, so why not just use lifestyle? If ultimately you have to use lifestyle to maintain your weight loss, can you take the meds for a while? Yeah, there's been people on similar medications, dating back to 2011 or so. I know we were talking to the rep from Eli Lilly. There's been, forms of GLP-1 agonists, very similar medications dating back that far.
Yep.
Some of the ones that we're using more recently are as new as 2018. But similar meds have been available since 2011. People have been on them, tolerating them okay. But as you mentioned, what we're seeing in our own population too is as time goes on, some of the appetite starts to come back as the body gets used to it.
Yep.
Some of the cravings start to come back as the body gets used to it.
Yep.
And so, as you're mentioning, if you don't have those lifestyle things in place, then you are prone to regain. So what the medications really have been good at, they're a nice kick in the pants, basically. It's like, if you want to get your weight off, you want to get it off quickly, you want to get down to your goal weight, faster than you ever could on your own.
Yep.
Medications are a major boon for that.
It's a great accelerator, and then you will appreciate that you're losing weight and you will stay engaged in the program.
Yeah.
But it's not the only solution, it's part of the solution.
Right. And we see people saying, hey, I feel like I have more energy now that I'm lighter. My knees don't hurt as much. My back doesn't hurt as much. I want to exercise now. I feel like I can move now because I have, more energy since I got all this excess weight off. So medication is a major help with that. Why wouldn't you do it by exercise and nutrition alone? According to the Journal of Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism, research shows that you only lose about 5 to 7% on average. Yes, you have your kind of like random one-offs who like lose tons and tons of weight, all natural diet and exercise, but those are by far the exception. What is generally expected is that if you weigh about 200 pounds, 5% of that is 10 pounds.
Yep.
Most people that are weighing 200 pounds, we see plenty of women that come to us that are 200 pounds or close to it. 10 pounds isn't going to make them happy,
Agreed.
And also from even a metabolic health standpoint, 10 pounds is not enough. Many people that we're treating are far enough away from their ideal body weight that, 20, 30, 40, 60... and even higher are what we're seeing in terms of amount of weight that needs to be lost to hit ideal body weight. Absolutely. So, the doing it by diet and exercise alone, it's, and look, we know this. Every year in January, every single year, people are going to do it by diet and exercise.
The masses.
Yeah, the masses. And every single year, America gets heavier and heavier and heavier. We're at a 41% obesity rate now. Yeah. We're at 73% being either obese or overweight, so it's almost 3/4 of the population at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're at the dawn of crossing the threshold where most people are obese, and I tell this to our patients all the time. Actually, if you are too skinny, you're on like a normal weight, the insurances, say you were applying for a lifetime insurance, they will actually flag you because you are outside the bell curve. So it's abnormal to be normal anymore.
Right, yeah. The figure, 73% of the population is overweight or obese. That means, 27% of the population is normal or underweight.
Yep.
So then you look at, well, who's normal or underweight when the vast majority of the population is overweight? Well, often what you're throwing in there, you're throwing in cancer, you're throwing in there, frail elders, you're throwing in there, nutritional deficiencies, that kind of stuff. And so, and you're throwing in healthy people. But it shows you how few healthy people, when it comes to, say, body weight, how few of them there are, in our nation currently. And so we're actually losing our ability as a country to even recognize, a lot of people, what's one of the things that we hear when people are starting to lose weight, their friends and family are like, oh, you're getting too skinny, Like we've lost our ability to even see like what normal is. Because of, the prevalence of obesity. It's very, very surprising. So, so how about, in terms of metabolic health, we talked about diabetes improving, we talked about pain improving, we talked about, Those benefit blood pressure coming down. We've seen it in many of our clients. How about, what's going on internally as that, weight comes down substantially?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of benefits when it is a medical weight loss or weight loss through lifestyle and lifestyle changes for that matter. So for one thing, the sugar levels normalize, which is critical. So that's diabetes is a huge issue. Unfortunately, a lot of people just take things like impaired glucose tolerance, metabolic syndrome too light because we have so many of them now. Everybody has metabolic syndrome anymore. So, and it shouldn't be taken light because remember, diabetes is a spectrum. So you don't wake up, become diabetic the next day. It's over the years of impaired glucose tolerance. Eventually, somebody gets to diagnose you, and then we throw a kitchen tank at you, and everything needs to be done at that time. Oftentimes involves insulin, which will basically make you gain weight and make some things worse for you. So that is exactly why when you combine weight loss program with lifestyle, I know we keep coming back to lifestyle and nutritional modifications, there is a tremendous change in your body. Not only you feel happier, you are happier, you're eating healthier, and there's just no other way getting there. Okay, so you have to have those. I oftentimes tell my patients it's like a bar stool with 3 legs. One is the medication, the other is activity level, which is a lot of people consider exercise, or adequate activity level, and the other one is basically nutrition, which also involves stress management and adequate sleep architecture. Very important.
Yeah. I think another reason, what are the costs for these injections? I think that's another reason to talk about, getting lifestyle down. What are we seeing with insurances? What are we seeing in terms of cost of the injections, and what are we doing about it?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of good news on the horizon in terms of cost of these injections. GLP-1 agonists they were initially started by Novo Nordisk, so they basically had a monopoly. Now we have Eli Lilly come up with their tirzepatide and Mounjaro. The cost is roughly $1,200 with coupons and running around. You can probably get it around $800, $900 if you're just paying cash. Sometimes you can find ways to get it for $25 if you have good insurance, but that is becoming harder and harder due to multiple reasons. One of them is just the fact that there's a shortage of all these medications. I'm not very familiar of technicality as to why there is shortage for something that is can be made industrial scales, but we always hear from the reps, there's the mechanical pens that come in is a shortage, or the certain doses is there a shortage. We know there's always a shortage of most commonly used, for example, for tirzepatide, which is 5 and 7.5 milligram. You just have to wait 3-4 weeks just to get it. So, which can be very frustrating for a lot of people too.
So what are we doing about that? Here at Meister Wellness, we saw this, coming. We saw it becoming more and more frequent. We saw insurances increasingly rejecting these medications, even though clients are getting phenomenal results with them. Yep. So what are some things that we did to kind of help with the shortage?
So we have compounded semaglutide, which is very affordable, just as effective. Chemically, it's essentially the same thing as Wegovy. It's just a matter of dosing it appropriately. So we have that. We have all the GLP-1 agonists that we stock here for our patients. If you run out, we basically give it to you at cost if we need to. We heavily use by-mouth medications, oral medications, basically, to kind of alleviate the need of going heavy on just expensive medications, where we use things like naltrexone and Topamax and other medications to kind of help you out. So in terms of multidisciplinary approach, I think we have it down pretty good.
Yeah. And in terms of, our goal, when we're looking at people losing weight and keeping the weight off, because that's the other thing I get asked about a lot, all right, so you can take, sometimes we've seen 60 pounds in 3 months. Insane. It's not uncommon. What we frequently see is 20, 40 pounds in 3 months.
Yep.
We have seen 60 pounds in 3 months. That seems to be the top that we've seen. We've seen it in multiple people.
Yep.
But, a question I often get is, all right, well, can they keep it off? I mean, it's almost asking like a gotcha way, like,
Right,
you know,
right.
all
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys are, you know, you can get these people down pretty quickly, can, you know, make a big difference in their life temporarily. And so, you know, when we talk about the lifestyle aspects, there's a couple of things that we can do to get people off the medications and be independent again. But but to get independent of the medications, what they really have to do is, and the research is out there. We know what works, and so, you know, people have to
Absolutely.
get up to the equivalent of 300 minutes, 250 to 300 minutes of you know, moderate paced exercise, or the equivalent. Vigorous exercise, 1 minute of vigorous exercise counts as 2 minutes of moderate exercise, but it carries triple the risk of injury.
Yep.
So, you know, that's
We don't
where,
want you doing that.
yeah. So walking, you know, about an hour per day is what's been shown in the research to help keep the weight off. Also, people have to adopt, you know, nutritional strategies that we share over a 12-week period with them. And so, you know, when people have those things in place, we have successfully taken people off medications.
Absolutely.
And they've sustained their weight loss. Conversely, if people are in a place where they're like, look, you know, I don't have time to put meals together. I don't have time to exercise.
I don't have motivation.
Yeah, all that stuff. Then the answer is the same whether you lost weight with us. The answer is the same if you lost weight with bariatric surgery.
Yep.
The answer is if you had a lap band. If you lost it using diet and lifestyle and decided, hey, I can't, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. The answer is always the same.
Yep.
You will regain weight that you lost if you do not adopt the lifestyle measures. So again, you know, the use of medication for us, and one of the things that we do is, you know, for clients that need ongoing support with medication, we give it to them. You know, we provide it to them. They stay on as a member.
Absolutely.
And that gives them more time, because maybe in all reality, hey, I'm a working mom. I have a side business. I have toddlers. All right, you know, when are they going to get 300 minutes of exercise in per week, right? So we can keep them down at their
Or
goal.
somebody's sick.
Yeah, setbacks, that kind of stuff. So people that stay on with us as members, you know, sometimes they have things interfere, and so then, you know, we can get them back down to their goal weight. But at the same time, if somebody is like, I don't want to be dependent on medications, you know, maybe I'm going to end up paying for these medications, you know, at some point, and I don't want that, we can help you do that. But you have to have the lifestyle stuff in place in order to be successful long term. It's just how it works, you know, and that's been shown again, no matter how you lose the weight.
Absolutely.
Including, you turn the stomach into a little pouch, and, you know, as bariatric surgery does, we all know that bariatric surgery about 25%, and it's sometimes higher in some studies, fully regain, you know, regain most of the weight, if not all of it. You know,
Absolutely.
they regain substantial amounts of it. So,
And sometimes the risk of shortening your lifespan. And
Yes.
there's complications. So
Right.
we see that quite often. And then here in the clinic, we see people who have had 2 bariatric surgeries and gastric sleeves. I mean,
yeah.
it's all over. So.
Yep. We see a lot of lap bands, you know, post lap bands and stuff. So, you know, so the whole thing is, with the surgery, you end up with a permanent absorbency issue that will follow you the rest of your life. You know, whereas with medications right now, they're generally well tolerated. They're generally low risk. And then, you know, hey, if you want to get off them, we can help you. So
Absolutely. The goal is actually to teach you lifestyle throughout the program. And once you're there, we do have people who are off medication or in such a low dose of medication that it's not even an economic concern in terms of like because they can buy one box and that lasts for a few months, or for when it comes to GLP-1 agonists, for example, the real risk is thyroid cancer, right? So you don't want to be on high doses of these powerful hormones and medications for prolonged time, because there's a consequence with that. And we have never had these medications available, so we really truly don't understand what they do to your body long term. This is something that needs to be said, and that goes to any medication that's new in the market.
Yeah, correct. And so, you know, the thyroid cancer so far has been in rats.
Rats only.
Rats only. There's no known cases in humans, including going back to use in 2011 of medications with similar risk profiles identified. Animal studies don't always translate to human studies, but it is something that has to be discussed. It has to be noted that, yes, it did cause this in the animal studies. So, yeah. So, all right, that's all the time we have. So, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I see a lot of names that are familiar to me, so thanks a lot for viewing, guys, and we'll see you again. All right, bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
All right.